could possibly get out from the oil boom and bust cycle. Anambra is not an oil-producing state and does not have oil in commercial quantity, yet it does not take loans or owe worker salary. According to the United Nations, Anambra has one of the lowest poverty rates in Nigeria at 11.2%, which places her ahead of 33 states. Anambra and other southeastern states lagged in education and had poor boy-child school enrollment. But today, Anambra leads the nation in WASC results. For the past 3 years, Anambra has had over 60% pass rates in the West African Senior School Certificate Examination. They have made the best improvements in education in the whole nation, and the state government even supports private schools financially. But look at these states that thrive by depending solely on federal allocation. They are broke, cannot pay salaries, and are so debt-ridden, banks will not lend them any more money. Worst of all is that these states are performing woefully in education. There is something to be learned from Anambra. Is it their policy? Is it their budgeting practice? Is it their sense of community? Whatever it is working. The federal government and other states should study what Anambra State has been doing right and replicate it nationally. Anambra proves that Nigeria does not need oil to thrive. What Nigeria needs to thrive is education. What is under the ground of this nation is nothing compared to what is between the ears of our people. My name is Ben Murray Bruce, and I just want to make common sense.
Oh, good old days. That's Ben Murray Bruce in one of his common sense series talking about P2B's legacy in education in Anambra State. Ben Murray was actually recommending P2B's model of education across the federation. Now let's go into the conversation proper. There has been ignorant conversation going on the social media space regarding P2B building a school in Anambra State as governor. This was orchestrated by faceless Reno Omokri. This topic has been picked up by the mainstream media, either for traffic or a hatchet job. This discussion is brain draining. P2B attempted to answer the question, and yet the low-paid actors ran away with their narrative. Let's do a proper discussion on this topic. Before we proceed, please like, subscribe, share, drop your comment in the comment box. Education is a segment of development. There are 6 things that make up education. These are critical aspects of education. Number 1, critical aspect of education is access. Access talks about the building, the structural building. This is the aspect that Reno Omokri is talking about. It is the aspect everyone is talking about because it's what people see, the artistic nature of education. In his first tenure, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan built 150 Amajiri schools in northern Nigeria. His aim was to give education to the Amajiris in the northern Nigeria. The structural edifice granted structural access to the Amajiris, not educational access. These schools have so far become marriable. I doubt if any of these schools are still being used today. Number 2, a service. The service that is being offered by the structural edifice, it can be in terms of vocational skill, technical skill, etc. Number 3 is quality. Let's look at the qualitative service being offered. The quality of service offered determines the quality of the student. When you talk about quality, you look at the library, the computer equipment, and other quality educational materials, including the lecturers or the teachers. You agree with me that many schools in Nigeria lack quality. That's why most of you run to nearby country like Ghana. Imagine leaving Nigeria to go to Ghana to have your education because of the quality of service. Alright, let's continue. Number 4 is enrollment. This is where we talk about the boy child and girl child enrollment. Here we look at the out-of-school children and all of that. Despite building 150 new schools in the north, the north still has the largest percentage of out-of-school children in Nigeria. Number 5, we talk about the school completion. This look at the completion rate of the students. As they enroll, how many students completed their education? How many dropped out? You can bring in 1,000 students into a school, but the most important aspect is how many students you were able to retain in that school, plus How many completed the duration of studies successfully? Number 6 is the general performance. This measures the performance of the students. This is where the WAEC, the NECO, the JAM, the Global Awards are factored in. This is the most important aspect of the education. You can have the finest of building, but if your student performance, both local and international exam, is low, the building is useless. Never in the history of educational award have a country been given an award for the most beautiful building or many building, but rather the greater performance of the people. Unfortunately, out of these 6 things mentioned, the debate of the day made by headless, confused political jobber called Reno Omokri is the structural building. It drains my brain seeing this conversation going on in our political space. As of today, the public schools in Anambra State is about 1,300 public schools. These are government-owned schools. The number of students in these public schools in Anambra State is about 350,000 students. If you divide this, it means one school is getting 269 students. If you spread this across JS1 to SS3, that means you are getting about 30 students per class. This means that Anambra State have way above global standard in terms of class attendance. Global standard record sits at 70 to 90 students per class. This means that Anambra School Access can still contain students from Delta and some part of Kogi State. Missions and private schools cumulate to almost 4,000 schools. This brings the total number of schools to about 5,000 schools. This is way too much in a state that has a student population of less than 1 million students. This means you will be having less than 20 students per class. This means schools have outrun student population in Anambra State. Now, as a governor who is sensible, who have had at least one part of development in your life, many people haven't attained any developmental stage in their life. That is why they go about saying ignorant things. If you as a governor of a state that have access already in times of structural buildings, whereby almost 70% of the entire schools were dilapidated, the schools were there, they were registered but not functioning, what will you do as a governor? Remember, Anambra State has the smallest landmass after Lagos State. Lagos State has 3,345 square kilometers, while Anambra State has 4,844 square kilometers. This means that there is no adequate land in Anambra State to build more schools, more new schools. Now, you are faced with the problem of having over 70% of schools not functioning, closed down, high number of out-of-school children. In fact, few years before the coming of P2B, schools were shut down in Anambra State for 2 years. Typical Nigerian politicians like Reno Omokri, if he ever have the opportunity to contest for a public office in Nigeria, we choose to ignore the dilapidated schools and start building new ones. While doing this, he may confiscate people's properties. The reason why he would choose to build new one is because he wants to siphon money. That is how a typical Nigerian politician behaves. They will choose to build a white elephant project rather than renovate the existing one that is on ground. For instance, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway that Tinubu is building for 15 trillion naira. That money is enough to rehabilitate all the existing roads in the country and make it functional. But they will choose to build a coastal highway that will take 30 years. A coastal highway that they may not finish. White elephant project. That is what a typical Nigerian politician is all about. But Mr. P2B is a different breed of politician. Governor Rotimi Amechi of Rivers State built over 250 model schools in Rivers State. Today, those schools have been abandoned. Rivers State can't even list Anambra State's boot when it comes to educational performance, but he built 250 new schools, whereas P2B rehabilitated the existing schools in Anambra State. When P2B came in as governor of Anambra State, he did a neat assessment of the schools in Anambra State. Need assessment is the process of identifying and determining how to fill in the gaps between a current and desired outcome. It is part of a strategic planning that helps an organization prioritize, improve, or provide resources to meet its goals. The problem with young Nigerians is that they don't read. They prefer to spend their time on Instagram, TikTok. They don't read books again. That's why you see a lot of ignorant discussion on social media. Nobody wants to know how Singapore, China, India develop their educational system. They're on social media playing politics. When was the last time a governor in America built a new school? What you see there are expansion and grant programs. The reason why you're talking about Harvard today is not because American government built 30 new Harvard. No, it is because American government has invested in Harvard in education, enrollment, service delivery, quality, grants. Same goes to other schools in the United States. Now, after conducting the need assessment in Anambra State, it was clear that access, that is the building, was not the problem in Anambra State educational system. The schools were there, but they were abandoned and dilapidated. Now, the reason is this. The missionaries built so many schools in Anambra State prior to the Civil War. Anambra has so many Catholic. Anambra is a Catholic state, and the Anglican churches as well. And if you know these missions, they build schools anywhere they are. After the Civil War, the state government took over the affairs of these schools. They grabbed all the missionary schools. There was huge density of schools in the state, which was grabbed by the state government. The civil service corrupted the schools, messed it up, and destroyed it. The first thing Obi did was to return the schools back to the mission. This was a big quantum leap because other government has tried unsuccessfully to return schools back to missions. Large portion of the schools were returned administratively. This means the mission was to handle the running of the schools while the government provided funding. This was a brave move by Obi because there were a lot of litigation in the ownership of these schools by the churches. Other government avoided it because they don't want to go into all these litigations with the churches. The church is a powerful system when it comes to this East. Obi started doling out grants for the school to rebuild it, which is a standard global practices. Obi actually built from scratch. He built the Anambra State University campus in Ibariam. That place was a forest. Obi cleared it up, built a first road there. He built so many nursing schools from scratch. They were not available when he got there. P2B achievement speaks for him. He is a working model. Foreign countries are even using P2B's educational model that he implemented in Anambra State to implement in their own country. Reno is just a jobless fellow and shouldn't be taken serious. The discussion about P2B building school is a brain-draining discussion. It is politically motivated. It is unfortunate to see mainstream media carrying the news. It shows our level of educational decay. That's why Nigeria needs someone like Mr. P2B to help transform our education, because there are lots of empty minds in our social media space speaking jargons. I am sure other countries will be laughing at us when they see us discussing things like this. It's such a shame. And I'm sure this video ends whatever discussion Reno Omokri wants to raise about Mr. P2B building schools in Anambra State. Thank you for watching. Please ensure you like, subscribe, and drop your comment reaction in the comment box. I will see you in the next video.